your sci-fi TV and movie channel. We got Sci-Fi Sundays for you today.
Woohoo!
Someone's alarm going off already?
Oh, I've got fan mail.
Oh.
Yeah, you can.
Howdy. Howdy, everybody.
Hello, hello, hello. Hey, Mike.
Stormy!
I just turn you down. Jesus God. That's
But,
really loud.
but first, before we go anywhere else, Stargate's been announced, y'all. $500 billion per episode? It's going to be insane. It's going to be insane, y'all.
I've just, oh my God. Couldn't they? Remember when
We get a cut of that, 1%.
Remember when everybody got mad at Ronald Reagan for using Star Wars for his budget concerning his efforts to weaponize space against the Soviets? It was just like, really?
Do they say history repeats itself?
Do you remember when people were worried about AI, thinking it might be a bad thing? Apparently, apparently they went.
When did you say that? That was a thing?
Yeah, well, I think there was a little bit of worry that the robots might try to take over the world or steal all our jobs. AI is like the Mexicans, I think. They're going to steal all our jobs and murder us.
Hey, we made it 3 minutes, 50 seconds. I think it was faster than the babies this time. So that was
Oh, my God.
Well, there are a couple fun things to talk about, and one not so fun thing. Old Denis Villeneuve has been snubbed by the Oscars. Not entirely.
How did that happen, man?
We're going to get into that. It might be a little bit more Stormy and I get into that.
I'm the only person that don't give a flying F about the Oscars.
Well, it's not even it's
slightest.
Harris and I both worked in the film industry. Right, and so we give a fuck about the Oscars.
Yeah, the principality of it is even if they didn't award him the actual feat of being best director, which there are many reasons you wouldn't in per season or whatever. Like, okay, there's this little art house film that did this or whatever. Even if you don't give them it, give them at least a nod because that was the most well directed feat of the last 10 years. Whoa. Anyway, we can get on that later.
I'm fucking around with my light.
I will go on a rampage of a rant there. But it's
to
y'all's turn to do a rampage of a rant because we got that to talk about later. We might go over a little casting stuff with Nanjiani, possibly Kumail Nanjiani, possibly being in Fallout Season 2, which Greg and I will talk about on Friday, of course. And Gosling is possibly in Star Wars. So those are going to be fun little things that we can talk about later. But what the hell's been going on this week? Especially the last few days, that I'm glad I'm not to the point of just yet, so I don't have to feel the frustration of everybody else just yet. I still got, 2.5
If you're doing it chronologically, you need to watch it after. I know you have to watch it after Strange New
After
Worlds.
you're dead. After you're
Strange
dead.
New Worlds, but before TNG.
That's when you watch
You
it.
have to watch it.
After you're dead and gone.
It's going to be a while.
I liked
31.
it. I thought Section 31 was very good. I really enjoyed it. Best Star Trek movie ever. I tell you what, it is the best Star Trek TV movie ever.
It's also the worst Star Trek
It's also the worst
movie ever.
It might be one of the worst things. I put Section 31 and the Star Wars Christmas special.
Oh, it's worse than that. I don't know why you're so joyful. It's much worse than that.
Yeah. I can't argue with me. It's awful. It was so bad. It made me want to get the food processor out and sit in it. Yeah. Arse first.
Not what I was expecting. That was.
I'm gonna remove the glass bit so it's just the blade. Right,
yeah.
And I'm going to sit on it.
That's kind of what I was picturing, sadly.
And press go, and I'm going to put it on the pulse one, so it goes like that. And I would rather do that than watch Section 31 again.
Oh God!
Some knobhead in my comments actually went, "It's not that bad. You should watch it again." I'm like, why do you hate me? Why? What did I do to you? Other than Michelle Yeoh is quite sexy in it. She is quite sexy.
None of my complaints is about Michelle Yeoh.
No, God, no. She was actually reasonably good in it.
She's the only reason why it didn't turn out bad.
Well,
Acting
Her
wise,
character-
she's fine too.
well, no, other than everything she says and everything she does what she says and what she does well. But what she says and what she does is stupid and moronic.
But the way that they had Philippa's character, it was like they wrote it as a very incompetent version of Hans Gruber. You know,
What?
Yeah.
Hans Gruber, where he could stolen the from he could have stolen the bank bonds and been kicking it on a beach, earning 20%.
Yeah.
I mean, it was just. I mean, she was fine. She took whatever sewage rap that she had as a script. Really did a good job, but in the end, it was still sewage rap. I mean, it was horrible.
Yeah.
It was like you took it's like you took a faulty upgrade of StarCraft 2, right? And you developed the worst, shittiest Guardians of the Galaxy script, and then you took like some sort of vomited offshoot of Firefly. And then you mix it in with this ridiculous dialect character from a bad Tom Baker episode. And then
the Irish development.
And then there was the scene, where they ripped it straight out of A New Hope, the whole trash compactor scene. She finds the doll in this anyway.
Oh, they got to that point. It was like, we may as well.
And they must have dredged up something from the editing room floor of everything, everywhere, all at once. They got all of that together and shoved it in the bottom, and then turned the blender on. I mean, who would thought a Vulcan should have the same accent as Peregrine took from Tolkien? I mean, the thing would have made it better is if he had some sort of if the Vulcan had some sort of off line like for I don't know, pipe weed.
Normally, when somebody goes on a massive rant and nobody else can get a word in edgeways, it's me.
So after all that, Stormy, did you like it?
Who puts an angry hobbit in Star Trek?
I actually said that now Star Trek has got its own Jar Jar Binks for a character that we can really, really hate. And I actually think that's unfair on Jar Jar Binks.
I mean, one of the best plot turns was when the Jim Raynor wannabe died. But they couldn't have managed to even keep going with that. They fucked that because they brought Daff back to life.
I like the Fuzz is the one we hate. The British guy. His name's come out of my head. Damn it. Anyway, he's actually quite good. I like him. I liked him in. I've liked him in everything. He used to be in EastEnders, a soap opera over here in the UK years ago, and he was really good in that. And he was really good in Pacific Rim. And I really like him. And he actually has some lines and stuff. So sorry,
he's not in there. Wait. Sorry, you just said Pacific Rim, and I was trying to think of British people.
No, he's the Australian fella in Pacific Rim. He
played Zeph. He played the character he's talking about. He played Zeph. Ironically, it reminded me of this guy from StarCraft 2, Jim Raynor, right? And this actor actually did voiceovers for Warcraft, so I'm not too far off.
I like the Zeph character. This film is so bad. The one thing they had that was okay, they killed. That's how stupid this film was. Like, his character's all right. This actor's all right. Let's have him commit suicide. Yeah, okay, let's do that. In the most stupid way, everyone's like, oh my God, what happened? Did Zeph no, clearly Zeph was overtaken by the nanite thing that you mentioned 5 minutes ago could do that.
That Tom Baker episode.
This film was 5 years in development. I know a bulk of that it was just going to be a series and then a mini series, and then last minute went, oh fuck it, let's do a film.
Isn't this the thing that Michelle Yeoh fought to have made?
No, well, she didn't fight to get it made, but basically,
I guess
she agreed. Basically, Paramount gave her the option to get out of the contract to do this series, and she went, actually, I'd love to do a film, but we just need to make it work. So she, I was watching Trek Culture talking about it, Sean Ferrick, And he was actually saying, "Oh my God, thank you so much for Michelle Yeoh getting this made." I'm like, "No, okay, thank you, Michelle Yeoh, for like getting them to do it, but it's awful." And they've set it up like it's going to have a sequel. If this film has a sequel, I think it would go and blow up the mountain, because I've got a problem. It can't have a sequel.
Right. It was like, Philippa's, trial run, to get into Section 31, and it was just no.
How quickly? Do you know the leader turns up and went, Giorgio, I know you were in Section 31 for a couple of years, and then you left, and you've been hiding ever since. But do you want to come back? And she went, no. Yeah, are you sure? She went, oh, okay then. What the?
Okay, here's another critique. Closer to the beginning of the film, they have the voiceover and they're showing the map of the Federation. And they show part of the map of where the Federation doesn't go. There's a Federation star base in that part of the map where the Federation's not supposed to go.
About 4. There's about 4 Federation star bases on the other side of this fucking line.
See,
what culture? And Sean Ferrick said that was a good thing. Oh, there's a really good thing. There's this. They've really done their homework. No, they haven't. There was a treaty that was mentioned in one episode of Discovery, and that they then used as an excuse for this. And the other thing, right? Section 31 is supposed to be incognito, right? It's supposed to do the stuff the Federation doesn't want to do, and most of the Federation isn't supposed to know Section 31
Thank
exists.
you, Mark. Thank you.
Yeah. How come Captain Garrett, who isn't a captain at this point, from the Federation, is on the team then of this Section 31 thing? That they've said, well, the Starfleet can't be involved in this. So what they do is they immediately send an officer to join the team. It's idiotic from just the. And they go and they get Giorgio. They don't know that Giorgio created that weapon. They don't know what the weapon is. But they go and say, well, we've got to get Giorgio. They don't explain why. And then it just happens that the reason why they've got to go and get Giorgio is because of a weapon she ordered. She Amazoned that thing. It was her fault that it exists. And they just happen to go, it's just stupid.
Okay, so let me drop some positive vibes. When the show started, we go through, Philippa coming back to her camp after the trials. She poisons everybody, and then there's the scene with San. She burns him, and then she holds up the sword. I thought the writing was really good. That whole bit there was really good. That was
first 10 minutes of the film, very good. And the cut I saw. That was nearly twice as long than the cut I saw.
Yeah, and so that was top tier Philippa. And then it went someplace else. It went to StarCraft. It went to to Firefly. It went to the Guardians. The whole scene about trying to capture and get the luggage that the Godsend was in. It was like watching Guardians of the Galaxy. Mm-hmm. And I was expecting Rocket to come in and steal it, and Groot be drinking from the fountain. But
it feels like they watched Guardians of the Galaxy and thought, we'll do a Star Trek Guardians of the Galaxy. We just won't do it as well. And we'll do it so that it doesn't make any sense. And then what we'll do is, like Star Trek fans, they really like the starships. And they reacted really well to us making the Enterprise G crap. So in this one, why don't we go even further and make the hero ship a pigging dustbin lorry? Are they Trump supporters? They go, you know what? Trump got in that dustbin lorry and everyone fucking loved that. So why don't we do that? And we'll have a dustbin lorry as the hero ship. It's just idiotic. My dinner's here. 1 second.
Okay.
Section 31 could be a euphemism for a colonoscopy.
Who said that? Who said that?
That was Bob.
Bob.
Monk keeps skipping the room over Section 31. He said Borderlands over Section 31. Real quick, I'm coming to you in just a second, Kogan, or before I forget about it, Jamie, this is the litmus test for Section 31. Where is it? I've got to find the comment. Oh, come on. Oh, come on now.
I am going to eat on a live, by the way.
Section 31 was so bad that I would rather watch the musical episode again.
100%.
Yes?
I would rather have the musical episode on loop in my brain, like that. What's that thing where you get buzzing in the like tinnitus?
Yeah.
I'd have tinnitus of Star Trek, Bohemian, of Subspace Rhapsody, and I would be happier.
Singing the songs of angry dialects.
Yeah.
Oh God.
It's.
Wow.
I mean, the problem is with this film, there are so many things in it I hate. It's hard to know like where to start. So all you can do is start from the beginning and just go, right, I hate it. I actually, the first 10 minutes I didn't mind too much, even though the thing about, where they have the little slut thing about fate. Not relevant to the film at all.
Not relevant at all.
I tried to figure that out. I was trying to tie that into someplace.
No, totally irrelevant.
In the exposition, and it just, it's like.
Wait, the central theme of the movie is not relevant?
What was the thing from Fate left over from another movie?
It's got nothing to do with fate. It's to do with Giorgio creating a super weapon that she then regrets. So it should be regret, maybe.
Regret.
And then she designed a super weapon that has no off button, which is also idiotic. A super weapon can wipe out an entire thing. What if somebody dropped it and turned it on by mistake? Because somebody just dropped it on the on button. Oh, it's okay though. We put in an off button, right? No. And it just wipes out an entire sector. It's idiotic. The bin lorry was rubbish. Do you know the other thing that annoyed me?
What annoyed you? Please tell us.
Do you know again, talking about starships, the mirror universe they were always Federation starships, weren't they? So whenever we've seen the mirror universe, they're always the same as the Federation. It's like the thing, there's different logos and stuff. We see two mirror universe spaceships, and both of them are nothing like anything we've ever seen in the Federation before. So even when they had an opportunity to put a bit of Star Trek in it, they chose not to. Oh God. They're just fucking. And the thing that annoyed me the most, and I mentioned this to Stormy earlier, the first bit when it comes onto the credits, it says characters inspired and created, or based on the characters created by Gene Roddenberry. And I'm just like, don't you dare put Gene Roddenberry's name anywhere near this massive pile of horse manure. Take it off. Let's just no, it's awful. It genuinely makes me angry, and I'm trying to stay calm. Because it's a Sunday and my blood pressure.
So going, Jay, expanding on your thoughts, like Giorgio's club, that space station. Why couldn't that have been a knockoff of like Terok Nor, Deep Space Nine, rather? I mean,
except it's a spaceship,
right?
Fly off at the end.
Exactly, but no, it was this,
Oh, the bit where they made it worse. The version I saw, Giorgio sang in it.
Oh, is this one of the pre-productions that you saw that she sang?
Yeah, I saw like an early edit version. There's a bit where she's singing. She's actually on stage singing.
Instead of the...
And they cut it out. Even they realized that was bad.
Oh, no. Okay. Before we jump any further, Shogun Orta did send us a nice super chat for $5. Thank you so much for the tip. Thank you, Shogun Orta. Yeah, 31. Oh, let me actually click the thing so we can all see it. Yeah, 31 exists because they can do the illegal things Starfleet can't. Put a Starfleet officer on board so they don't do anything illegal.
Everything was.
I'm here to make sure nobody gets murdered. And Georgie goes, "Oh, isn't that sweet?
Isn't that sweet?"
No,
bless her heart.
I'm thinking about it, idiotic.
And
I watched the Trek Culture review of the film. And they went through and they do this thing of hit and miss. This is a good thing. This is a bad thing. And there was way more bad than good for even them who were very, pro Star Trek sort of thing. But he did about 30 good and 40 bad. So it was way closer than it should have been. And almost like Sean Ferrick, man, come on. And some of the stuff he was saying that's a good thing because it's stuff they were like tried. Oh, this mentioned this thing from Star Trek. And I like what they were trying to do here. Oh, I'm like, yeah, they were trying to do that, but they didn't because it was crap. It's all bad. There's nothing good in it. The dialogue is so clunky and done. It's like ChatGPT, but ChatGPT 5 years ago when it was acted like it had like a learning disability.
Yeah, before the internet was put into it or whatever.
It's just bad. And they're trying to explain like 2 or 3 episodes. Like, we're going to introduce the characters, and it is. I said this in my video. Do you know when you got a new job and you've got to do that group thing, and you got to stand up and say, "Hello, my name is Jamie. I'm an Aquarian. I really like sports." I had one of these. Have I told you about one I had once? And the woman stood up and went, "I'm in HR. My name is Susan, and I'm into water sports," and sat down. And I laughed, and nobody else laughed. Nobody. I'm like, I'm seriously, she's into water sports. Come on, people. Nobody. Anyway, so you know how awkward that is. That was like when they're on the starship for the first time and they're introducing each other, and it's sort of like it was like that. It was just bad. Nobody talks like that.
Mike brought up a point earlier. He said, I don't know if he's actually watched it or not, but would you say that she found her performance in Michelle Yeoh? Was it one of those things that, okay, yeah, I want to make a movie out of it, but okay, I'm here and it's not all that great now that I'm here. Okay, make the most of it, or okay, I'm just at work. I'll get the paycheck and go home.
No, I think she likes doing it. And I think she really genuinely likes.
Okay, that's good at least.
But I think the problem was, and I said this about before it came out when I saw the original edit, I know for a fact she wasn't on set for most of it. So anytime you don't see her basically face on, she's not there. So they're all filming their bit and she's all filming her bit separately. And actors need to bounce off each other and stuff, don't they? So that's why it comes. But also, it was done really quickly. Her schedule was just like, it's just got to get done. The bloody Fuzz character basically didn't have time to learn how to do an Irish accent. He then also didn't have time to learn how to do an American accent, and he's fucking American.
But he nailed the Hobbit. I mean, he nailed the bag end accent. He nailed the bag end accent. He really. So one thing that concerned me and was near the end of the film, she's in this big fist fight with San.
Yeah.
And there's this one scene where San's character throws her up against the bulkhead, and it looked like her head hit really hard. I mean, it was just a flash, but you could see her head bounced off the wall, and they cut to something else. But it was like that would hurt. I mean, he forcefully threw her, and then her head bounced off the bulkhead. I mean, it was, you could see I'm
just hoping she was knocked unconscious and she's forgot the film movie.
Maybe she got a nice.
Was I in this?
But go back
a concussion from it. Nice payday. That was the best part of the whole thing.
But I was really. I mean, I was really concerned about her health because it looked like she really slammed her head against the set,
like her career. Bam.
Oh, she'll be fine. No one watches Paramount unless it's Yellowstone.
It's true.
Or anything else related to Sheridan.
Would you say they have jumped the shark?
Sorry. No, I think what happened was they tried to jump the shark, missed, landed in the shark. The shark ate them and shat it out, and that's what Section 31 is.
Oh.
It's shark poop.
And then the shat jumped over the space whale in the background.
Yeah. God, I wish there were space whales in this
film.
You
wish there were space
whales. Killed for space whales in this film.
Oh God. So usually I try to maintain a positive vibe, positive attitude. I mean, I liked a lot of stuff that you guys that viscerally hate, but oh my God, this was bad. And I was overwhelmed with pissy attitude after that first 10 minutes. It was just like, I'm hoping it's going to recover. I'm hoping it's in. It just never does. Because it seemed like every 10 minutes they ripped off some other scene from some other science fiction franchise. Like, and I had just had it up in my head when, she goes into, it looks like exactly like, the garbage smasher on the detention level, from A New Hope, and she's digging around. Where's Chewie? They fired Chewie. Chewie's not in this scene. And then they find a doll that I can't cope. Can't cope.
This toy is banned in the Federation because it's got an incredibly explosive energy core. Why? Why didn't they find just like?
And then why do you throw it away?
It's just they think we're morons. The other thing that annoyed me a little bit was like they made the leader. Well, they made a leader an augment for no reason other than to go. To remember that this is like Khan. They put Rachel Garrett in this for no reason other than she was the captain of the sea. There was a few other Easter eggs and things they threw in the background as well. Again, for no reason other than they were like, I couldn't imagine they were in a meeting going, "This is really bad." I mean, no, this is really bad. Right, we're going to have to distract people, so we're going to have a bald chick who's quite sexy, and we'll kill her really quickly. That'll distract people for a couple of minutes. It'll distract Jamie anyway, because I was like going, who's she? And then we'll throw in some things to make people go, "Oh, I remember that. I know what they're talking about. This is Star Trek." It's not. It's not remotely Star Trek. And when they had possibilities to make it Star Trek, they didn't bother. It's painfully bad, and that's me saying, I wish I liked Star Trek. The only benefit of this is that surely Skydance have got to be looking at this and going, I'm not sure we should give these morons a new contract. That's the only benefit. I know they're already being advised that they should have the contract taken off them, or they should not get a new contract. This surely doesn't help. That's the only silver lining in this. The torture of this absolute shite might be coming to an end in 18 months' time.
James has got it.
Yeah, at this point.
Oh God, it's just bad.
So Tony asked a good question. He said, "Jay, as Discovery Universe seems to not be Prime Universe, can we agree that this Discovery spinoff is just flushing material?" And I guess obviously flushing material is the fun way to say that, but because they've essentially canonized all the little different multiple universes, etc., could this be? Is Disco the one that's the not well canonized?
Well, they basically decanonized it in Disco, in Lower Decks. But I mean, it could just be Lower Decks making fun. But they keep saying Lower Decks is canon, so you know. But yeah, this is a direct spin-off of Disco. So in that case, if Disco isn't Prime Universe, neither's this.
Interesting.
So we can pretend it didn't happen.
JJ or Section 31?
JJ Abrams isn't Star Trek either. So it's Star Trek adjacent.
Okay.
So yeah.
It's rock bottom for them.
It could get worse.
Kurtzman wise, I believe just a few chats ago, I could find it in a second. Oh, do you think Kurtzman thinks it's good, or is he doing a facepalm right now? And do you think he's going to try to make another, actually?
It seemed to be set up that they want to do another one. That's how the film is set up at the end. It's set up like the only thing they didn't do is sort of like go team Section 31, high five. And so they did everything else but do that. So and the best of it was the most annoying character on the planet they killed and still brought back. It's honestly like they did it on purpose. I don't think Secret Hideout wants a new contract.
Don't think so?
It's the only thing that makes sense. They don't want one. So what they've done is it's sabotage. They're self-sabotaging. Do you know, like when you're in a relationship you're not loving, and so you like self-sabotage to try and dump you. It's like it's like Secret Hideout are treating Paramount mean to try and get dumped. It's the only thing that makes sense. Nothing else makes sense. At no point did they think this was good. They can't have done. And I know nobody tries to make a bad film, and bad films get made all the time. Nobody tries to do that. They're always, they might have limitations to budget and stuff, but no one tries to do that. And the budget for this wasn't ridiculous. There's loads of people talking about this budget is like, this was like $50-60 million or something. It wasn't. It was something around $25 million, I'm told. And a lot of that went to Michelle Yeoh. But it's not. Nobody tries to do a bad movie. I don't know what they were thinking. I don't know why as well. They very clearly tried to condense what would have been the first series down into a 2-hour movie. That seems that I think that's why it's so jerky and why it's so fast. They've tried to condense it down. They should have just scrapped it and done a new thing totally. But they didn't. I actually think the first 10 minutes of this film would have been basically the first episode, which is probably why it was longer in the version I saw, and it was condensed down again. But you can almost see it in the film that there's like bits that feel like they would have been those specific episodes. Why didn't they just scrap it and just start again?
Well, okay. I guess I have a couple questions and thoughts that just come on. But one is coming from the super chat that I'm about to read off in a second, and I'm going to try to rope into it, of course. Just from what you're saying, though, people don't try to make bad films, but sometimes they know they're not going to be able to make a great film, and they know they need to, like, easy example, recently, Lord of the Rings, War of the Rohirrim, I still haven't seen it, and I need to go see it. But it hasn't gotten like the best reviews. People say, okay, it's serviceable, and it's serviceable probably because you have decent writers, but it doesn't even seem like they really went into it with all the gung-ho-ness that they could have, because this is Warner Brothers keeping the rights for Lord of the Rings to make their Hunt for Gollum trilogy, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Of course, we've seen it with Stargate Origins, it's not everyone's favorite, but you know what? It kept the rights at MGM at the time. That could be a part of it, maybe, keeping rights. I don't really think that's part of it, but this is where I guess this comes into the Slacker guy's super chat here, excuse me. He says, good faith question, is Kurtzman white-knuckling, holding on to Star Trek because he knows that no one will hire him when the contract is done? And I'm going to add one to that. Is he doing that? Also, trying to get a couple quick projects out because those are paydays before his contract is up?
I can see that.
And maybe that's why it's not quality as well. He's really not actually focused on quality. He's actually focused on getting himself paid before he leaves.
They are rushing to get the things that they have in the stuff that's been greenlit. They're rushing to get done. So it does feel like, they're going to do they're basically the first 2 seasons of Star Trek Academy greenlit for money reasons, not no other reason. It's cheaper to spread the cost out over 2 seasons. They greenlit 2 seasons, and that was greenlit a year ago.
Right.
So they're going to film them back to back because they haven't got anything else greenlit. They can't do anything else. So they're doing that in Strange New Worlds, and that's it. So they're just batting them out. The series 4 of Strange New Worlds as well is going to be the same thing. It's going to be straight into. They've already started pre-production. We haven't seen season 3 yet, but season 4 is already in pre-production. They're just gonna
really wait. So season 3 hasn't come out, but you're saying they're already in pre-production for season 4 of Strange New Worlds. Did I catch that right? Damn.
Yep. So they're filming. So basically, what they're going to be doing is they've got the CBS, they've got the studio space. What they have been doing previously is sort of like they'll film a Picard, then they filmed, say they filmed Picard season 3, then they filmed this movie we just saw that we're not going to mention again. It's like Voldemort. We'll say the movie that cannot be named. And then they filmed Strange New World season 3, and then they went straight into filming Academy. Then what we're going to do is go straight into filming. I think they might actually film seasons 1 and 2 of Academy back to back, and then they'll go straight into film. So it's always that, that role. One goes into pre-production, the next one goes into filming, and then the next one goes into back. So they've always got it rolling. But the thing is, before they had 3 or 4 shows rolling. Now they've only got 2, and it seems that they're trying to get. I suspect what they're trying to do is get season 5 of Strange New Worlds into production by August next year so that they can finish it. Because whatever's in production at the time of the contract ending, there's things in the contract that basically mean they can complete them. So it'll allow them, it'll just eke out a little bit more. So, but they've got to get it in, it's got to be in production, not pre-production. It's actually got to be filming at the point of the contract ending. So that's what it feels like to me, is that they're just racing to get this stuff done so that they can get started, sort of thing, so they can get the money, get as much money out of it can. I think they're pretty confident they're not getting a new contract.
If that's the case, and we know they're phoning things in, and then I'm not saying acting wise or anything like that. Obviously, if some of the actors are excited for things, but then it case by case basis. I haven't seen necessarily the shows. I'm still at the very beginning of Star Trek. Yada yada, whatever. I'm not the person to tell you who's phoning in what, whether it's on the production level or acting level. But if the projects are coming out as they are, and they're getting the kind of vitriolous response that we get, like literally James is saying it's what we deserve at this point. And I feel like there's a lot of Star Trek people, just from being on the offshoots of the Star Trek world, I guess. That's what you hear. People are obviously not happy with everything and haven't been for a while. With that last super chat and maybe Kurtzman trying to rush himself to get a few more paydays and secure a couple more years of work before he runs out of a contract and says, hey, nobody really wants to hire me right now. He might have a Joss Whedon effect for a little bit where, maybe he didn't piss off a bunch of people for directing wise and kind of getting in people's faces, but he screwed the pooch behind the scenes in a lot of ways. Long setup for the question, but the question itself, could Paramount halt him in his tracks a little bit, like David Zaslav has done with the bad project of Warner Brothers, and say, hey, if you keep making bad projects, even if you're trying to make a payday, screw you for doing that to both our customer base. You're not helping our shareholders either. We're going to can your movies. We're going to can your TV shows. No one's ever going to see them, and we're going to write them off for tax breaks. Could he do that? Or could any of the Paramount's trifold of CEOs currently do that? And
they can't
stop him in his tracks?
They could. The contract they've got at the moment basically means that Paramount have got first dibs, but they could sell it to somebody else if they wanted to. So I'm hearing that they're trying to do this sitcom, but they know Paramount aren't going to buy it. But they're trying to get interest with somebody else, and luckily nobody's picking it up at the moment. Mainly because they know that if the contract does run out, and it is, somebody just asked that they thought it was 2025. The contract does actually end in August 2026.
Okay.
August 2025, it goes into like a final year thing, and the contract has got different. So from the August 2025, this thing about them being able to sell shows to anybody, that ends. They can't do that anymore, and basically nothing can be greenlit and things like this. So it's a slightly different, it's a final year of the contract and there's slightly different rules or whatever. So, but no, it ends in August 2026. So I think that's why they're trying to sell this sitcom, why they leaked out that they would work. It was in development. But there's nobody over at Paramount that could greenlight it anyway, because there's nobody, they're not Skydance are waiting to take over.
Yeah.
So I think they're trying to sell that. But the thing is, Paramount have got first dibs and they've got to say no. And Paramount's just not saying anything. So it seems that they're sort of like using things. But I don't think anyone else would pick it up anyway, because like I said, they know the contract runs out in 18 months. And I think it's pretty much well known in the industry, Secret Hideout probably won't get a new contract. So sort of like they could pick up a show and then in 18 months' time, they can't do a third season. Yeah. Say they picked up the sitcom and it did really, really well for Amazon. Mm-hmm. And Amazon were like, this is brilliant and we love it. Can we have a third season? They're like, no, because the contract ran out. We can't make Star Trek anymore. And they could go to Paramount and go, can you make it? And they go, no, because the contract ran out and we can't make anything that Secret Hideout was making. So you can't. You're basically starting a show that you're only going to get one season of. There's no point. So they can't sell it.
Yeah. Well, so I guess two thoughts come from that. Obviously, kind of expect maybe not crap, but probably not necessarily great stuff within recent or near timelines. I guess the most the things coming out in the near future don't necessarily expect a whole bunch from them. It sounds like, but also that feels like before August they will be throwing spaghetti at the wall and seeing what sticks until they can no longer have anything green.
The thing is, they can't even really do that.
Because they're going to get turned down or a no in general.
Yeah. The only thing I think we will get announced is, because I'm hearing it's already been agreed, is the Lower Decks movie. And I think we will get that. But other than that, I don't think we're going to get anything announced of Star Trek. I tell you, it'll be very interesting. Once Skydance are in, if by Christmas we haven't had something like Legacy announced, I think that'll be very telling. Because Skydance are in, then they could greenlight things. They could greenlight the sitcom and stuff. I think if they're going to look at saying, okay, let's think about this contract, they'll greenlight something. But if they don't, I think that'll be really telling. I don't think they'd announced that they're not going to get a new contract. And the other is what Skydance could do, and I've been told this a few times now, is what Skydance could do is just give them a new contract because they want to do Gene Roddenberry stuff. It just won't be the overarching sort of contract that they've had in the past. So they still could keep it, but it would be a contract that doesn't give them anything like as much creative freedom as they've had in the past. But they could use that. They could be using all of this. Skydance, in theory, could use all this to get a far more, a better contract for them, sort of thing. The first deal basically was Paramount were like, well, we can't do anything with Star Trek. Do you want to? And they're like, yeah, okay, we'll give you some money. You go with it. And Secret Hideout got a really, really good contract, got a really good deal. And then it was quite popular at first, so they got a really good deal. So Skydance could do that. But I think we're already seeing Secret Hideout desperately trying to change the course of the ship to try and keep the contract. I just don't think it'll happen. But then whatever happens, I don't think they'll get anything like the deal they had first time around anyway.
No, yeah, that's some icing on the cake when it's still baking, and you think it's going to be a really nice cake, and it didn't turn out as cooked as you thought it was, or maybe too cooked, one or the other. Speaking of birthday cake, real quick, while there is birthday cake on the screen, while it's on Jamie's screen, tomorrow is young Jamie's birthday.
47.
He's 14 or 17. What was that? 24, 27, something like that.
Let's go back.
Okay.
Yeah. I'm at an age where I hate my birthday.
I feel you, bro.
Age yet where I forget my birthday, but I'm at an age where I hate my birthday.
Nonetheless,
I don't think we heard that.
that you hate your birthday or what?
No, I'm not at the age like Stormy where I forget my birthday.
You see, I can't forget my birthday. It's on, well, here in America, it's almost a national holiday. I was born on Cinco de Mayo.
Hey!
I mean, I get a free margarita every year, so hey.
I was about to say Cinco de Drinko. That's a good one.
Cinco de Drinko. Yeah.
That's a good one. Nonetheless, whether he's happy to be celebrating it or not, we're going to celebrate him a little bit tomorrow. We're not going to keep him
Happy birthday to you.
But we will have a very long stream tomorrow.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Jamie. Happy birthday to you.
I had to whisper it because that was too angelic.
Harris, you could have muted that.
I thought it was beautiful.
Many missed opportunities.
I would have had to keep up singing instead.
Well, let's hear your rendition.
Tomorrow you can see it. You'll have to come by tomorrow to see it. But to see it tomorrow, while we celebrate Jamie's birthday, we also are going to be raising some money and trying to support some relief for the wildfires in Los Angeles and everywhere around here. Because it has been destruction on levels that, especially monetarily wise, that most people aren't ever going to see again, which sucks. And it's been a wild thing to kind of witness so closely. And we can't be all sullen, so we have to have some celebration in there. So thank Jamie for having a good birthday on tomorrow. Hopefully he doesn't die from his cake before he reaches his birthday.
Well, Harris, I was going to ask you a really serious question. How close did the fire get to you as Jay dies in the background? How close did the fire get to you, and are you no longer in danger?
Oh, no longer in danger or anything like that. If he dies live on stream, are people not insured for this?
God, you know what would be bad if somebody
why you don't eat on screen. I'm going to continue to, but this is why you shouldn't. Learn from my lesson, people. But my dinner was late because my the lovely lady that cooked my dinner for me nearly set fire to the house. So my dinner was late, and I'm really hungry. So screw you guys. I'm going to keep eating.
Damn right.
You should keep eating until somebody offers up a super chat.
Hey,
but then I might have to stop eating.
They're going to super chat for you to stop eating.
Yeah, that's right. Yes, that's right.
No, the fires are all fine, Stormy, though. They're all good.
Okay.
The closest one I think that ever got to me was 4 miles away, but it was over a mountain peak, and it had a reservoir to go through as well, and a big old golf course at a certain point too, kind of a little further off. So there were some barriers, thankfully. The weird one was this Hughes fire, this big old 10,000 acre one that burned up in Santa Clarita a couple days ago.
This was what was that, Wednesday? Thursday?
Yeah, it went from 10,000 acres or 500 to 10,000 in a day. Well, here we go again. Thankfully, at that point, everything else was so combated, I believe, that, all right, we're just kind of keeping everything satiated. Let's combat this fire now. And they were able to get it within 36 hours, which was cool. Which shows you the amount of support that was actually here for that big of a fire. Okay, people are still hanging out, making sure everything's safe. They managed. But
yeah, I think New Mexico sent some of our fire tankers out, or 2 of them or something. And
it's called New USA now, isn't it?
Something like that. Something like that.
Okay, so since we tinge that subject, I propose we change the name of the Gulf to the Gulf of Cuba. That will make everyone happy.
Wait, what happened to the What a Gulf? The Gulf of Whataburger?
I never heard of Gulf of Whataburger. That's even better.
Somebody joked about it. It said, how about the Gulf of Whataburger? It's in every state that's along the lines. That's just as good, right? And then Whataburger replied, or somebody did, that said, how about What a Gulf instead? That's my favorite. That's my favorite.
Yeah, but I really thought, I was trying over on Tumblr. I was trying to get, a Gulf of Cuba going as a trend, but I totally failed. Face planted. Totally.
But yeah, so charity stream tomorrow. A birthday for Jamie as well. So you got a twofer. And I'm not even telling him, but there might be a couple surprises. We might have some fun things to do.
I'm not going to be there then.
Oh, you want to be there?
No. I don't like surprises.
It'll be fun.
I like to know exactly what's happening at all times, particularly when other people can see me.
Well, that's no fun. The Gulf of what does this have to do with the price of eggs? Okay, we're done after that, but that's great.
Is the surprise Amanda Tapping singing Happy Birthday?
How'd you know? You're not supposed to guess that.
Dude, if it's anything but that now, I'm going to be really, really angry.
That one up there long.
Mike is just trying to cause trouble today, and I appreciate him for it.
But okay, but before I guess we can go on section 31 because y'all can keep talking about this thing as long as y'all want to, because it seems like it's got some flame and some fire to it. May I ask, if you had to choose something that you genuinely liked from it, a moment, a set piece, a concept for what they were trying to do or something, maybe, could you pick it? And would there be like a particular thing that rubbed you? I guess is there something that actually made? Is there I guess I'm looking for your biggest eye roll, your favorite thing, if you actually had to choose a favorite thing, and then your least favorite thing. What's the thing that you think hurts Star Trek the most out of it? Best looking thing, and then the thing that you're like,
there's nothing in Star Trek out of it. There is no Star Trek in this film, so forget that. Thing I did quite like the Zeph character, and I'm going to say that the runtime was only an hour and 35 minutes. I like that because it could have been longer, and that would have been bad. I actually say in my video it should have been longer, and people go, "No, it was bloody awful. I couldn't take any more." And I'm like, "No, it should have been a good film, but longer." Because that they wouldn't have had to rush through things, but a different film, you know what I mean? Better. Brit I genuinely like. I did like the Zeph character. I thought he was quite funny, but he's an actor I like, which helps. Michelle Yeoh was kind of sexy in it. She was really flirty. Not she wasn't the Giorgio character at all, but she was really flirty, so I quite like that.
Well, the one sheet that they had, or the promotional screensaver that they have for Paramount, I'm looking at it now. It's like her with this purple glow. She's sitting on looks like a leather chair with one leg kicked over one arm and the other one kind of bent behind her. I thought that was really well done. It's kind of got this sinister vibe to it, you know. But it is not reflective of anything that happened in the show. Again, I'll repeat that the thing that I thought was really good was like the first 10 minutes of Giorgio coming back to her village and then poisoning her family and then accepting the role of Empress as she burned San's cheek with a sword. I thought that was top tier Giorgio, Empress Giorgio. I thought that was. And then it went someplace else, far, far away in some other galaxy. And it was just, it did not. And so for the Star Trek-y thing,
the tricorders, the bloody tricorders as well. They had the tricorders noise, but they were fecking cell phones with little torches attached.
Yeah.
They should have been. We've seen what tricorders were. Sorry, Stormy. This just made me angry as well. We've seen what tricorders were like before, and we've seen what tricorders were like after. And then these tricorders, completely different to both. The film is it's a bad word I'm not allowed to say.
So let me add another thing that they stole. Is it looked like for me the tricorders that they're using was almost the exact same styling as what they used in The Expanse. You know, they're using them all the time, and it's like, well, no, that's I've seen that before. Yeah, oh yeah, the fucking Expanse. So that's another thing that they've ripped off from was The Expanse, in my opinion.
They had iPhones. I don't know why they had iPhones. It's just weird.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And and on The Expanse, the only thing that it looked like that they had as phones in Expanse was an iPhone with no back to it. It was like a little puck at the bottom that had the battery and all the processing. But it was just, I'm still like you, Jay. I'm struggling to find something that was Star Trek-ish about it.
They had the tricorders that were nothing like any tricorder we've ever seen before or since, and had the right sounds. They had the noise. I quite like that. I hated when they went phased, but for some reason the floor was made out of some sort of anti-phase material because she dropped a thing that was phased and it hit the ground and stayed there. So I'm like, oh, for God's sake. The thing I really hated, the thing that made my eyes roll the most throughout the film, were the things that happened, the things that were said, and basically everything in between. That's what I hated most about it. Pretty much all of it. Even the first 10 minutes was okay, but no, all of it is. Oh no, I'm not.
Well, it seems like all of Star Trek fans.
It did end.
It did end. At least it sucks whenever unification for something ends up being on like, okay, we all hate this. Like, come on. Star Wars had it with the Acolyte for the most part. Now y'all get it with Star Trek with Section 31 here. Even fans of modern Star Trek and fans of all generations of Star
We've
Trek,
had it for 10 fucking years.
Bonnie included,
Yeah,
agree with
but
fans of what I call the
goddamn-
pre-Bad Hideout era on how bad it
Fucking
is.
acolyte. You had one series that was really, really bad. Star Wars fans. We've had Discovery and the fucking Strange New Worlds musical.
So you're saying from the last debate we had,
card as well.
from the last debate we had, Star Wars is better right now?
It's much better than Star Trek at the moment. But
Howdy, Julia.
traditionally, Star Trek is much, much better.
And can I add a disclaimer? Let me just add a disclaimer here. Is like about a month ago, I started on my journey to watch everything that was Stargate, starting with the original movie, SG-1,
Good man.
Atlantis, and Universe. And so I conditioned myself before I watched Section 31. I conditioned myself to watch by watching really high quality. Oh God, what is this?
I just saw Mark's comment.
Jay's Section 31 themed birthday party tomorrow is going to be awkward. How'd you know?
That really tickled me.
That was the entire surprise, Mark. Come on.
Mark, well done. Very good.
That is good.
Sorry.
So anyway, I preconditioned
Sorry,
myself to watch Section 31 with some high quality, and I think we can all agree, high quality sci-fi. And then Section 31 appeared on my TV, and it did not match. It did not rise to the occasion. So that's my disclaimer. Is for like 5 straight weeks, I watched everything Stargate, and then I watched Section 31. So imagine my disappointment.
Huh. Okay, so Merrick put this in here earlier, Merrick L, and he re-put it in here, and I'm glad he did, because I was actually hovering over the last one because I thought it was a good question. I was hoping Section 31 would be dark and clandestine, showing the James Bond style of gadgets, secrets, and spyware techniques and craft, much the same as seen with Sloane in Deep Space Nine. From Stormy's thing that he said he liked about the episode, when she's putting a hot sword in somebody's face, that sounds like it's dark.
Oh, it was dark.
Supposed to be, and then it ended up being goofy.
And then it turned into Captain Kangaroo. I don't understand.
Imagine James Bond with a serious brain injury. That's what most of the Section 31 agents are like. They're morons. So, yeah, no, it wasn't. That's the thing. It's not actually what Section 31 is supposed to be, an organization within the Starfleet that does the things Starfleet won't do. So they're not just a spy organization. There is actually Starfleet intelligence. Starfleet has an intelligence body. So this film actually is kind of like what Section 31 would be. So I don't have a major problem with that. It's doing something that Starfleet wouldn't want to do. I think the problem was they tried to make the problem too big. At the end of the day, as soon as they go, oh, this can actually wipe out half the quadrant, Starfleet, even if they had this treaty, they would go, yeah, okay, we'll send a ship and we'll come and sort it out. This sounds quite bad. You know what I mean? They just would. But the whole point was that this was supposed to be like this. It came across like a Dirty Dozen film, and that's what it came across like. The problem with that is these are supposed to be very highly trained, secret, the top of the game sort of thing. And what you had was an amoeba that can't do accents, an idiot in a Borg costume that kept falling over and then killed himself. Rachel Garrett that actually seemed to be relatively competent but didn't actually do anything. A sexy bald chick that got herself killed almost immediately. And Khan's younger brother who didn't really do anything either. Oh, Michelle, yeah. None of them would be competent to do anything. The amoeba, how do you have a spy that's a Vulcan that can't stop laughing his arse off? It's just idiotic. It's just these people wouldn't be hired to clean your living room. Never mind go and save the universe. It's just idiotic, stupid thing.
the best joke that makes what you said even worse is Bond with a brain injury is essentially Mr. Bean. They didn't even get the Mr. Bean right, huh?
No.
Damn, that's a shame. And also, Rough Riders keeps on bringing up the point. You need to rewatch the beginning of Star Trek Into Darkness, the JJ version. He said that's a much better variation of like Star Trek Spy. Would y'all agree that even
yeah,
the
Section
JJ stuff is even more Trek?
That film is what Section 31 would be. They are dark. Okay. They are actually doing things that Starfleet's too scared to do. So they were actually basically trying to start a war with the Klingons. Because they thought it was needed, sort of thing. They needed to do. So they were trying to they were trying to do the things Starfleet was too good and nice to do. That's not what Section 31 in this film was. They were the Dirty Dozen, and that's not what. It doesn't make any sense. It's not what we've seen Section 31 before. And I'm just thinking with the idea of what Section 31 is. And you've got Giorgio, who's like a bit of an anti-hero. They could have gone any other way with this, and it would have been better. I mean, you could think of 10 story ideas just off the top of your head. You could watch almost any Cold War movie or something like that, and you could copy it basically and turn it in Starfleet and make a better film than this. It just doesn't make any sense at all. And yeah.
Well, Shogun actually had a good little joke. Maybe it's reverse psychology. You'd never guess any of these people would be Section 31 spies.
Yeah.
Brilliant.
Hey-oh.
Oh, okay. A shapeshifter that was also a moron. A shapeshifter that kept overthinking everything and would go off on little tangents and just start talking to himself. The man was a moron. I told you they were all morons 6 months ago.
Was it actually
supposed to be they're worse?
Is it actually supposed to be a space western and a spy thing? Like, at the same time?
It's supposed to be like the Wild West. It's just bad.
Well, Slacker Guy asked another good question. Wait a second. Could this have been a Starfleet version of the Seven Samurai or like the Magnificent Seven version of that? Could someone number check me? There are 7 agents, right? Is that what he was going for and just did a really crappy version?
Again, that's not remotely to the story. Giorgio, Borg dude, annoying Irish fella, amoeba dude, baldy, shape-shifting lady, Garrett. 6.
Well, what if you account at the very last scene when the other Borg, Jamie Lee Curtis appears? Would that be 7?
Yeah, Jamie Lee Curtis with implants as well. No.
That was just
this movie.
Is
it actually Jamie Lee Curtis?
Oh, it's actually Jamie Lee Curtis. Yeah, she plays some sort of Borg and working for Section 31, and that's why I thought they scraped off a little bit too much from the editing room floor for everything, everywhere, all at once. It was just horrible.
Well, okay. Well, Damian Walker said the Maleficent 7. That's kind of funny. The Everything Everywhere All at Once thing, obviously it seems like a lot was spaghetti thrown at the wall for this. I guess my question, if it were edited better, since of course they might have had a longer thing, they had more scenes to do, if they had some Oscar contending, Emmy contending editor in here able to really put something together out of nothing, is there enough where maybe not the best Star Trek ever, but could a decent film actually have been made if edited correctly out of it, or is it just too far gone?
It depends on what they left out. You know, somebody was talking earlier about will there ever be a director's cut someplace in chat? I forget who it was. It was way back in the show, but it depends on what they've got cut out, you know. But still, we have the problem of it doesn't look like Star Trek. No, there was nothing that was remotely like, you know, the primary universe. And there's still a lot. I mean, I don't know.
The problem is the dialogue's bad. It's filmed too quickly, so the actors aren't delivering the dialogue well. It is edited badly. There's a few continuity errors where you see an actor say something, and then it cuts to sort of like a wider shot. Then you see the actor do the same thing. It's the same shot from a different angle.
Just redone.
And I'm just like, what's going on there? And there's a few other continuity errors. Like at one point, Michelle Yeoh character, they all go to the garbage truck to try and find if that's the thing. And then they realise that Zeph has nicked the thing they were searching for, and all of a sudden Michelle Yeoh's character, they just all appear back at the original place, like that. Like that. It doesn't. It's just not edited. It's not edited together very well. But the problem with this is there were so many delays because of Michelle Yeoh sort of like winning the Oscar and then trying to get the scheduling done. I think they basically then went, right, it's got to be filmed before we start filming for Avatar or whatever else Michelle Yeoh's doing, because she's got a million things. So I basically went, it's got to be filmed here. So they went, oh crap, and they just did it. It was one of those things that was like, it was now or never sort of thing. We've got to do it now. And they just didn't have to, even though the film technically was in development for 5 years, I think, because I was told, this is another one of those things that there's another YouTube channel that I know took shit. I've caught them out a couple of times now, and they actually had a go at me saying, no, this was decided over a year ago. We've got it from the horse's mouth. And I'm like, it's not fucking true. They decided that they were going to do a movie 2 or 3 weeks before they announced it. Michelle Yeoh basically went, I can't do a film. And they offered to get her out of the contract. And she went, no, I can't do a series. Sorry, I can't do a miniseries. I've got this time and I can do it. If you're up for it, I'll do it. And they went, okay. Then they pulled the trigger and they announced it within 3 weeks, and they started pre-production almost immediately, and they just rushed it. And that was the problem. They just rushed it because they had a window to get it done.
A window of opportunity?
Sorry. A window of opportunity. Good one. Very well.
I have to bring some levity back in it somehow, you know?
But that was the problem. And I think that's why they didn't bother trying to do a new story and actually do a film properly. They just sort of went, right, we're just going to have to condense what we've got. And we've got a story. Let's just turn it into a film. And that's why it's bad.
Well, shoot. You have had to watch it twice. You must be the only one.
I have actually. Shit, I haven't watched it twice. I've watched it 3 times. Technically.
Oh, God. Have you just been self-torturing yourself here? A window of disopportunity? Sounds about right. Damien said, sorry, a heavy edit could have produced a passable 45-minute episode, but the result would be so close to a DS9 episode, The Magnificent Ferengi, as to be pointless.
I don't think they could have done. If anything, you could reshoot certain bits and edit it into a longer film, and it might have made more sense. But there's like the whole bit where they have to convince Michelle Yeoh's character, Giorgio, to actually join them. It's over like that because they haven't got time to do it. I think that would have been an entire episode. Right. And they'd have gone, oh, no, I don't really want to. And they'd have gone, oh, go on. And then they do this whole bit where they explain how they were going to trick her into doing it. And that's stupid as well.
Be back in a second.
But it was, they just did it and they just got it done, basically. And you know, when you like, you've got a project. Well, you don't know because you've never had a proper job in your life, I suspect. But you know, when you I'm on it for you next. But you know, like if you're say you're doing an essay for thing, and you like you put it off, and then last minute you think, oh shit, I've got to get this essay done, and you're just like, I'll just get it done. It doesn't have to be good. I just got to get it done. That's what this feels like. They're just like, let's just get it done, and it's painful. It's painful.
Part of that, Kurtzman literally just trying to get as many projects as possible out and produced.
I think it's more stupid than that. I think Kurtzman was so desperate to work with Oscar-winning Michelle Yeoh, he didn't care. He was just like, look, Michelle Yeoh's in it. She's amazing. She's the top of the game right now. She's going to appear on a Star Trek project. Let's just get it done.
Hey, well, guess what? Now she's not at the top of her game because he just put her on the worst thing at one of the longest franchises, if not like well, I guess Doctor Who's definitely longer. So there's a few franchises that are longer living franchises. But one of the longest franchises on the face of this planet has just been tarnished far more so than it has even the last few years.
I can't remember, excuse me, that pizza was really spicy and it's made my throat go bad.
Got that crushed red pepper coming in there.
You remember though, she was in that Witcher thing they did that was awful, and people forgot about that pretty quick.
That's true.
As soon as she does something good again, nobody will care about it. And fair, nobody's really blaming Michelle Yeoh. Everybody just goes, Kurtzman must die.
I think the actors are blameless in this whole scenario.
Right. And she isn't wicked, so that's good. That's good. She's got that going for her at least.
Which isn't shabby. I mean, come on.
No. I didn't enjoy it as much as I expected to, but I think I just had too high of expectations as well. But it's still a damn good film. That's probably one of the best productions feat-wise in the last decade as well, outside of Dune and a certain other couple things. Do you think? Yeah, I think Brain Pain had suggested this a couple of times, and maybe a couple other people have as well. Do y'all think she regrets filming this? Or, hey, I went in there, payday, managed to do it, wanted to do it, I managed to get it done anyway. Proud of it in that sense. Maybe it didn't work out, but obviously it's not her fault. So
if she's got any sense, she won't be pleased. She might regret doing it. Because this was a character she really loved. Mm-hmm. I've seen her in interviews. She wasn't faking. She was saying how much she really adored this character and playing this character. And to do something, I just really hope she enjoyed doing it. I hope she looks back at it and going, I don't care what the end result was. I had a good laugh making that. I just really hope that's it. And but if she's got any sense and she really cares about the character, she would regret it because it's tarnished the character. Now it's like the best thing from Discovery is now become the star of the worst Star Trek movie ever made. Hmm. The only thing that's got going for it is to say that it's not a cinematic movie. So in that case, Insurrection is still the worst Star Trek cinematic movie ever made. And The Voyage, and The Final Frontier. What is Stormy? What is the worst Star Trek movie for you?
Oh, this was it. This was. I mean, I have a high level of tolerance for theatrical pain, but this was really bad. I mean, I've gone back and every other thing that Star Trek thing that has been made, including the animated series, I've watched multiple times. This would not be something I'll watch again.
Damien just put a comment to backing out contract. Paramount offered to let her out of the contract. She said no. Come on, let's try and do something. She was willing to do this, and they did offer to let her out.
Mm-hmm. Even with that, though, Oliver brought up a good point. It'll definitely affect Kurtzman more than you.
Oh,
it affects Star Trek as a whole more than
very much so.
Michael
saying Nemesis.
I like Nemesis. I had a good battle. We got a good space battle.
Okay.
I never hated Nemesis. I hate Insurrection. I don't hate Insurrection. I actually love all the Star Trek movies except for Section 31. I really like all of them. Not the J.J. Abrams ones. They're not Star Trek. The original ones from TG. But my least favourite are Insurrection and The Final Frontier. They're my least favourite.
Would y'all agree that the Orville is outdoing modern Trek? Even with three, they've taken the definite approach of quality over quantity, it seems. And even though there's only 3 seasons, everyone seems to really adore.
I think with the next, I think we are going to get 2 or 3 seasons of the Orville now, but they will be a lot quicker. They will be every 18 months. We'll get a season of the Orville now for a couple of years, if it's popular enough. It doesn't get cancelled. I think we'll get an official announcement on the Orville in the next 4 or 5 weeks. TED 2 ran over. TED 2 production ran over a little bit. It's just literally just finished, just wrapped. So that'll allow the team to sort of like move towards the Orville now.
That makes sense. Well, with Michelle Yeoh on the brain, She was also in Wicked, like we pointed out earlier. And John M. Chu is another director that deserved to be nominated for an Oscar. I would actually say no to that one. I think it's a great big production, and it deserves to be Oscar nominated for the film itself. I don't know if John Chu deserves, because it's already something that's done. He already has the story. He already has all the beats and how to do those beats done, and they've been done for a long time, and he's just kind of tuning it into his own fashion. So I don't think that's truly a best director feat. But damn, he did a wonderful job. I don't think that's to take away from his ability to direct or what he did. Nonetheless, who got snubbed in the best directors category this year at the Oscars?
Was it me?
Yes.
It was me.
You're supposed to direct Star Trek Section 31. And what happened?
Yeah. What happened there, Jay?
I was too busy directing you two morons.
Good point. Good point. But with that thought process there, Denis Villeneuve did not get nominated.
Meaner than I meant to. You know when you have a funny joke in your head, but if I went meaner, you two utter morons.
Go into Jack Nicholson.
Sorry.
You can't handle the truth. Just in.
Who got snubbed, Harris?
They couldn't handle a photocopier.
It was Jay for health and safety guy.
Whenever and best returning character. He never returned technically, did he? He just best evil twin character.
Obviously, you're not as pissed off about it as maybe Stormy and I may be, Jamie. But do you still just think that? Come on, at least give the guy a nomination. It's a nod, if anything.
I don't know who we're talking about. Who are we talking about?
Denis Villeneuve not getting an Oscar nomination for best director.
The guy that did Dune.
Yeah, Dune Part 2.
Right.
Greatest
when did Dune
cinematic
Part
feat
2
of the
come
last
out?
decade? February. So it is a recency bias because or March. It was either March or
you
April.
get that a lot in the Oscars, don't you? That there's a recency bias. People forget, don't they, about films. No, I don't care. I'm trying to pretend to care. I don't.
I mean, at least it should have gotten an Oscar. Huh?
I said your turn to rant because I ranted earlier.
I think at least it should have gotten one for set design. I mean, in the score, at least, it was. But those, I mean, I'm very.
It did get production and design. No score. It got sound, but no score. And score.
There's this one track on YouTube where it's Sardaukar meditation vibes, and it's a lot of throat singing, and I love it. But anyway, I think he really that was beautifully shot. I don't think he fucked up the franchise. I liked it better, and I love me some David Lynch. I love me some David Lynch, but it was much better than Lynch's version. It was a lot better than the Sci-Fi Channel miniseries version, which was also, I thought, very well done. But I think in Villeneuve's rendition, the Sardaukar were almost as evil as they were projected in, or as they were perceived in the books. Mm-hmm. I like the TV series that came out, the Prophecy. But I think he got robbed. At least a nod, at least a damn nod, because that was well crafted, and there were legions of fans, and these novels were over 50 years old, and he pulled it off, man.
Can you think of and the thing that just I keep going back to, also Shogun Orta. I don't know why everyone hates Dench's David Lynch's version of Dune as well. We watched it last week. Sarah and I watched it last week. It's in live streams if you want to go check it out.
I don't hate it. Don't hate it.
It's so much fun. It's not great, but it's so much fun.
I thought it was considered to be one of the sort of iconic sci-fi movies. I know it's a bit cheaply done, maybe, but I mean, considering what they were trying to achieve with it, I've always thought it had quite a good reputation.
It was. Remember this one? It came out in the 80s, 40 years ago, And still, I think, even with the dodgy special effects, the story is there. There were some creative differences or things that where the story did drift off. Mostly it was the weirding module, and which is I guess a legit criticism of the film. But it was
the scale of it is still a lot larger than a lot of modern films. And what it was able to do with just matte paintings. I love that era just used matte paintings the way they did. It just feels like it's just so much more of an enveloped world than even fancy technology can bring us into nowadays, which is saying something.
And it had a very young Patrick Stewart.
And it did. So I guess he's still bald. He had a little bit of hair. He had some, But with that, do you think Dune is getting a little bit of I think, I don't know if it was Monk again earlier, but somebody said he was getting a bit of a Chris Nolan treatment from the Oscars, and then someone also said that, hey, there's Christopher Nolan, Quentin Tarantino, Stanley Kubrick, et cetera, never got directing Oscars.
Yeah.
They at least got nods. They at least got nominations and nods. Denis gotten nods and stuff before. He has not gotten a nod for this. But can we think of a film that has actually accomplished a more potent feat of filmmaking in the last decade?
In the last decade?
Yes.
Of the last decade, outside of maybe Avatar 2, but and that doesn't necessarily have the best story in the world. I don't know if there's a film that has the most.
Talking about, God love you, mate. But from a directing point of view, what are you talking about? This was a big grand sci-fi movie. And you're talking about Oscar for Best Director, and you're saying that there's no film that's come close unless.
I'm saying a feat of the project.
So
there might be better films, but I'm saying the project as a whole, at the scale of the project, what he was able to accomplish, the ability to hop in that world and feel lived in.
I got one example, but it's not in the last decade. It's Lord of the Rings, and they really wouldn't give Peter Jackson the Oscar until he finished it.
I do wonder if they'll delay Messiah to be released in the Oscar thing, so it'll be, like you said, it'll be a Peter Jackson type of thing.
Right. Messiah
will be released, in the run up to Christmas sort of thing, so that it's in Oscar season. And he will be at the very least given a nod for it, but it'll be for the trilogy.
Sorry. So I was just going to say, Fellowship of the Ring, I thought was extremely Oscar worthy. And I heard of Peter Jackson before. I'd seen some of his other previous films, and I thought they were well done. But when I went to go see Fellowship of the Ring at a midnight showing on opening day, the first 10 minutes, as they kind of covered topics from the Silmarillion on up until they showed the title, I made the decision right then and there that this was so good that I quit filmmaking. That was when I quit. And I told my film partner, called him right at 3 in the morning after the film got out. I said, dude, it was so good, I quit. After that, I just did commercials. And then I got into aviation again. But I thought it was so well crafted. And Harris, you probably know the feeling that when you see something so good, it shames you inside from the work that you've done.
That happens when I watch almost every other YouTube channel. Still make videos anyway. Don't care.
So it was, and I thought, well, that's a snub if he doesn't get but they waited to the last, and then it blew out. It's so now the franchise Lord of the Rings, compared to another Harry Potter, is an Oscar king. Lord of the Rings. Did Harry Potter win how many Oscars did Harry Potter win? The whole franchise?
2 million.
It was spread out, but it wasn't a whole bunch.
I think and it's like for like music, which was good, and it's maybe special effects, but you never won anything.
Nominations or wins?
Wins.
Okay.
But you know, at the end of the Oscar night,
for 3. Oh no, Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone won 3.
Yeah, I think is that the only one? Because there's
Harry Potter won a single Academy Award despite being a visual extravaganza over 8 films. What? How many? Why did Harry Potter get no Oscars? The Skoda didn't need Oscar nominations to win the market. What? So it didn't get.
So how many did Lord of the Rings win?
17 for Return of the King.
Well, that was my next thing is like, you know, when they did Oscar night for Return of the King, it blew out everything. And it seems like the Academy was saving up to see, well, can this Aussie guy, or not the Aussie guy, can this Kiwi actually
the New Zealander? The little New Zealand guy?
17 nominations, no wins. Harry Potter, by the way.
Okay. Well, Stormy, you're literally working into the exact thought process I was hoping you were going to go on, because I was thinking the exact same damn thing. Oscars hate sci-fi. They also hate fantasy. I don't think they hate it. It's just because. Why?
When was the last time you saw a porn movie nominated in anything? There's no.
Some of those art house films get very close.
The girlfriend effect, or the girlfriend something.
I'm about to say some of those Oscar films get very close. The art house ones.
Tie Me Up, Tie Me Down.
Saltburn last year. Didn't get nominated for something. But I guess the ultimate point, jumping off of Stormy, your thought process there, I was thinking the same thing. Oh, Jay, Dogma. There you go.
Greatest movie ever made.
So good.
If an actress has sex in a movie that's not a porn movie, how's she not done for prostitution? She's been paid to have sex. And sometimes they do have sex in some of these movies that are like legitimate movies, not just porn films. How are they not done for prostitution?
Who is this?
As long as they do it in a film in New Vegas. God, I'm in a Fallout brain. Las Vegas, they're fine.
Okay, suppose so.
Real quick,
I remember one of the
continue on that.
Did a film and she actually gave a guy head in the movie.
I mean, there are a couple. Chloe Sevigny and I forget the actor's name, the blonde dude. He's also in Boardwalk Empire. I believe he's French originally. That I forget the movie title, but they have the whole big old non-simulated sex scene that's famous. Yada yada yada. Jay, have you seen Honora? I haven't seen Honora either, but that is the one I was going to quote from this year if I had to guess.
And more is actually correct. It's solicitation. It's illegal, isn't it? Not actually. You can actually pay somebody to have sex. What you can't do is solicit to have sex.
That makes sense.
Except in Vegas, where you can do whatever the hell you like.
Viva Vegas. But with the thought of all these films and the lack of nominations, et cetera, and if you can think of one, Jay, please let us know. But I don't think I think Harry Potter is probably the only thing that is comparable to Dune and Lord of the Rings in the ability to have the scale of what we're actually watching feel like, oh, I could step my foot in there and feel like I'm in this world, and it just did that so well. And I don't know if the film itself deserves the Oscar win per se. I'm not saying it's the best film. I'm saying it's the best feat of a film, I guess, in the past 10 years in that kind of category, which Harry Potter would have had before that and Lord of the Rings prior to that. But like Stormy was just going on, the thought process there is the exact thought process I was hoping would happen, because we're going to get the third Dune movie, which is the second book, Dune Messiah, within the next 2 years. I think 2027 is the goalpost for that film.
It's in pre-production at the moment, isn't it?
It gets weird as hell. I hate the Oscars doing it. First of all, the snubbing of sci-fi and fantasy will piss me off forever, because Harry Potter deserved Oscar wins and a lot of those things. 17 Oscar noms, most of those are probably sound, production, lighting, whatever. It deserved every single damn one of those over the majority of the films in the last 20, 30 years. Anyway, that's just, I didn't realize all that, and you got me on my high horse now. I'm pissed off about it. But with Dune, you gotta nominate films for their merit. For their merit. I hate the recency bias, especially of the Oscars, because you have a film that, like Dune, that is, it doesn't matter if it wins or not. You don't even nominate the guy that has the best feat in the past decade. It just blows my mind. And the recency bias, I feel like, completely almost screws the Oscars' ability to say, yeah, it screws their legitimacy. They don't care about the films that came out in the past year. They care about the films that came out in the last 4 months, 6 months. Is it a half a year award nomination or a full year?
Look. Well, what was nominated this year? So what would you drop?
Real quick, though, while I just am on my tangent.
Substance, The Complete Unknown, Nora, Emilia Perez, The Brutalist is phenomenal, though.
Yes, but Emilia Perez I would have dropped. I think the nominations for Perez, John Campion's been saying a lot of good things about it. I agree with him that you'd actually probably want to keep the performance-wise nominations there, but the rest of the film, I haven't heard a single soul say anything good about that film outside of the actual performance things.
Yeah. Then the Brutalist is going to win that.
It should. It should. And I don't necessarily think Dune 2 should win that either, but at least it got the nom in Best Picture category.
You know, though, that Best Picture and Best Director and everything don't go to good films. They don't go to entertaining films. They go to films that people that are there go, oh, I really like what the director was trying to do with that. These are the same people that go to modern art galleries and go, well, I see what he's trying to do with the colours and the thing. They're different to normal people.
Yes.
Normal people would have voted. I nearly said Barbie then, but actually that did win. They would vote. Fast and the Furious would have been nominated for a Best Picture one of the years or something like that. You know what I mean? Because it was fun and people enjoyed it. And, you know, so the films that gross the highest aren't the films that are nominated in these.
No, sure.
Things. None of those films will be in the top 50 highest grossing movies this year. But they're voted as, you know, the director gets, or they'll get best picture. It's a different mindset, isn't it?
It is. And I'd just like to chime in with a couple more examples of when it really became obvious how tainted the Oscar process was. Little film, late 70s called Star Wars that literally changed not just science fiction, but all of filmmaking.
The landscape
of the world, right? And did not win an Oscar. And so you really get, you know, George Lucas was obviously snubbed because they don't like sci-fi. They don't like fantasy. And who else was really getting snubbed back in I mean, with great crafted films, great writing. It was Steven Spielberg. He didn't even win an Oscar until Schindler's List. So all the Indiana Jones and everything else he done, you know, I mean, he was, you know, he was the blockbuster dude between him and Lucas. I mean, hell, Lucas wrote a bunch of his stuff, you know, and so what was the Close Encounters of the Third Kind, you know, and it just, you could not get in these films because literally it was a blockbuster. You know, you'd have like these things back then. It was just
Close Encounters is an ideal film that I would have said it must have been nominated for something. It must have been nominated for the special effects or something.
I'll Google real fast.
Yeah, I think it was special effects, but you know,
that's the sort of film that I could see winning a couple of Oscars because it is actually a thought-provoking, and it was so original at the time as well.
I mean, you know, the Star Wars series, you know, it won some, you know, technical. Go Harris, go.
This is the only time it looks like sci-fi has actually ever been appreciated. Close Encounters. Thank you, Steven Spielberg, for at least being who you are to be nominated for all this, because that might be the only reason it happened. Because Best Cinematography, Special Achievement Academy Award, Best Supporting Actress, Best Visual Effects, Best Director, Best Original Score, Best Production Design, Best Film Editing, and Best Sound Mixing. It had 9 nominations.
But
that's not shabby.
But won none. That's
Special Achievement Academy Award, I think, might be one that was given
How
to
did
it.
not win at least best special effects? We've never seen anything like that before.
No,
Sci-fi
we
movies
have.
should win best special effects every fucking year, though, shouldn't they? Really? I mean,
It should be
So anyway, that it was
Sure.
really glaring when Star Wars was absolutely forgotten at the Oscars. In terms of best director, and there's no. I don't care if you're a Star Wars fan or not. You have to admit that was one hell of an achievement for cinema.
Yeah.
And there was one dude driving all of that with all of his anxiety and everything else, and that was George Lucas. I mean, he suffered greatly trying to get that thing finished. And then all the Indiana Jones series, the first three, those were that was Spielberg and Lucas. Enjoyed by hundreds of millions of people for decades.
the Oscars
There's a bias.
to do with entertainment, though, are they? That's my point. They're not nothing to do with entertainment. If you want to go MTV movie awards, that's about entertainment.
Your Critics' Choice Awards, your People's Awards, all those. Yeah.
The People's Awards, not the Critics' Choice Awards.
Golden Globes, yeah.
British Choice Awards.
Some
The People's Awards and things like that. That's the stuff about
People's
entertainment.
Choice,
How much people actually enjoyed the movie. The Oscars about how much people enjoy the art of the movie, and how there isn't a stuntman Oscar. It just still blows my mind.
Mm. So I guess just to wrap up the thought process right here, and to maybe jump into our final little quick topics, and then we can hop out of here when we feel like, because we have hit a little past the 1.5 hour mark.
I said I'd go at 7.
You did.
You got excited about some Star Trek and some Denis. There's enough to rant about this week, actually. This is honestly just a 2 hours of ranting. It's going to be fun. It has been fun. But with the thought process with Denis here, everything we just said obviously is the case. It's easy to see. That's just your average Joe can do a little bit of digging on the internet, and whoop-de-doo. That's how the Oscars tend to be. With the precipice of, I guess, Peter Jackson and Lord of the Rings there, and waiting for the thought process. That's my in real life thought bubble there. Waiting for that third film to come out, the end of the trilogy, to give all the Oscars to. Like I started off the rant with, Dune Messiah is weird as hell. A lot weirder than the Return of King, the Lord of the Rings, the Return of the King, having a few ghosts pop up at the end. That might not be your typical, like, okay, let's Lord of the Rings, but now we got a bunch of ghosts coming in. Okay, I'll give somebody that's never seen or read anything, like, okay, that's a little bit different than we expected. Dune Messiah is about to turn that on its head and then some. We're about to see Leto 2 Atreides. No, like, it's going to be very weird. Is it going to be too weird of a film for the Oscars to excuse my French, give a shit about?
No, they fucking love weird. What are you talking again? What are you talking about? The weird are the
They don't like too weird though, and they don't like weird when it comes to sci-fi.
Love weird.
They
love it. Things like Pretty Little Things and stuff like that. Oh, they love a bit of crazy.
They like art house weird, not sci-fi weird necessarily.
Well, yeah,
and that's where I'm
depends
scared.
what Villeneuve does with it, doesn't it? Because he could do, I mean, he can make it art house weird. But no, they love a bit of weird. Clockwork Orange and things like that. Ooh, let's go a bit of Clockwork Orange. Let's give that an award because it's weird. And no, because it depends what he does with it, very much. But yeah,
I might be thinking a little bit of Children of Dune, but Messiah has some weird stuff nonetheless.
Messiah's got, because it's got the whole thing of the main guy turning, hasn't it? And he basically becomes the emperor, and he ends up being the villain in the end.
The Empire strikes back, but this time we're with the Empire. Surprise.
So yeah, thank you, Davey. I just saw that, mate. I was just looking at my new score. At least we're not losing. We're not losing. So.
That's good. But yeah, no, I just have worries that give films awards based on their merit, or at least give them nods based on their merit, instead of saying, okay, we know you're going to come out with another one. Who knows if it's going to be good or not? and especially when you got some weird source material. Good luck. It's some damn good source material, but it's weird nonetheless.
They
and
don't
general
like
audiences might get turned off in a way.
Oscars don't like movies made for people. They like movies made for the Oscars.
Right.
And so things like I don't know. What I'm trying to say is the sort of films that do well with the Oscars are the films that studios make to try and get an Oscar. They're not the movies studios make to make money.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? It's like and that's just the reality of things. And we know this because all the studios, they'll at least do one movie every year, and it gets released around like October, November, December time. That is their Oscar push. And every year, all the studios will have a conversation at some point going, right, what movie are we trying to push for the Oscars this year? And those conversations will come in when they're like, is the film even going to get made? Like, oh, this film has got Oscar nomination possibilities.
Yeah.
Because the studios, Netflix have been chasing an Oscar for freaking years.
Yeah.
And that's actually, aren't they doing really well this year? Haven't they got like a bunch of their movies got nominated? Because now they're allowed to. Is it Netflix?
I don't think this year, but Netflix. Maybe there's one. I remember they were very excited when they won for Roma, the best international feature, and I think that was the first big Oscar win in a big category for them. But I'm not entirely positive.
Yeah, Netflix leads the Oscars with 16 nominations.
Damn. Which film?
Netflix scored a leading 16 nominations on Thursday, mostly for the award-winning Emilia Perez. Because it landed 13 nods. So they're the actually most successful studio this year, the Oscars. But they've got to release it in so many cinemas, haven't they, for so long to be allowed an Oscar nomination, haven't they? A24.
They have to be at least for a week, I believe.
Yeah, it's not very long, is it? But it's got to be in so many cinemas for so long, and then you can get an Oscar nod. Because they were trying to change the rules, weren't they, for Netflix? And Netflix was like, I'm going to bloody put a film in the cinema just because. But yeah, and Netflix have been desperately chasing. Well, all of them do, because it's like Amazon are desperately chasing awards at the work as well, because it gives them legitimacy. It makes them a real studio. They're not just Netflix. Netflix doesn't get the respect it wants from other studios. It's why Amazon bought MGM, because they're trying to buy legitimacy. You know, it's like, and winning an Oscar does the same thing.
Hey, Netflix, you would have our respect if you actually released your movies in theaters. What was that? But like you said, and I'm going to poop on Netflix just for a second. Not really poop on you. I love you, Netflix. Please hire me.
No, we don't.
Anyway. They didn't. They are not the studio with the most Oscar nominations. They are by definition with Emilia Perez, but that's from one movie with 13. A24 has 14 noms, most coming from The Brutalist, but everything else too. They got 3 or 4 films in there. That's the most successful studio in the recent years, especially Oscar noms.
Universal have got 13.
Oh, wow.
How many different movies is that?
That's a good one. Let me Google real quick. Because a lot of those are going to be for Dune in the technical categories. Oh, Google doesn't tell me immediately. Come on, Google AI. You're supposed to be helpful with all this. Group scores record 25 Academy Award nominations. Oh, what? Oh, yeah. Oh, no. Universal is definitely coming out on top because they have The Wild Robot, Conclave, Wicked, and Nosferatu.
I'm glad Nosferatu's got a couple of
and Dune.
Got a couple of nominations. Sounds good.
So there was another example of, like on Jay's point, quirky movies being pushed by studios for a Oscar.
Mm-hmm.
The most extreme one I remember is a 1991 film called Prospero's Books. It was by Peter Greenaway, and it was okay. So I love the film. It was definitely in the quirky category. It was introduced at Cannes with John Gielgud was the main character playing Prospero. This is from a Shakespeare play called The Tempest. But the studio, Miramax, threw everything at it could in terms of marketing to try to get it a nomination. Now, back in these days, it was the budget was $1.5 million, but it was really I thought, I mean, it was quirky. It was out there kind of quirky, great amounts of nudity.
What's it called again?
But they were trying to get it a nomination when it was only playing 2 places in the United States, New York and LA. No one else had seen. I didn't even get to see it until after the Oscars a year later at this art house near Raleigh, North Carolina.
But you sat at the back.
I know. I sat up front and let everybody watch, bro. It was the one that but it's really hard. I mean, it's one of the few films from Greenaway that never really got a Criterion release, and it deserves a Criterion release. Roger Ebert gave it 3 out of 4, and he chided the critics because they didn't get it. I mean, it was fabulous, crazy, quirky film that should have had, Oscar slobber all over it, but it never got there. And if anybody can catch it to rent or to buy on DVD or whatever, Prospero's Books, 1991, it's probably a $2 CD or whatever. Definitely get it and watch it because it was a great. I mean, it's not going to be a comedy. It's not going to win the People's Choice Award, but it was very well done in terms of an art house film that the studios tried really hard to get it an Oscar nom and totally face planted. Too quirky, maybe, but God, it was a fun film.
At least that's when you figured out you wanted to be a rocket scientist.
Oh, I was 6 years old when that happened.
Read this.
Right.
I wanted to be a rocket scientist as well, but unfortunately, the downside was that I'm a dumbass.
Oh well, that is an impediment.
It was a small problem.
I'm waiting until we just put all of our consciousnesses in robots, and then I'll be 80, and then I'll become a rocket scientist because then I'll be smart enough. You got to get a lifetime worth of stuff first, which Stormy accomplished much faster than most of us through awesome book things and film things and fit aviation.
Wing math.
Just
there was that math thing.
Brain things, as they say. But I guess that is the end of our sourness on Section 31 and Dune. Before we jump out of here, are y'all excited about the possibilities? There's been 2 possible castings this week, one for Star Wars and one for Fallout. Kumail Nanjiani is possibly going to be in Fallout Season 2, which would be really fun. No idea who he'd be playing yet. But this Friday, Greg and I are going to be talking about that on Radical Wasteland. Y'all excited? I know y'all aren't necessarily big Fallout video game or anything people, but the TV show was a lot of fun. And Kumail Nanjiani is a lot of fun. I've actually, quick little story. One of my friends, Hannah, had come over to LA just to come say howdy and hang out for a week or 2 when I first moved out here. And I was like, okay, got to go do some fun things, go do some touristy things. Brought her to Melrose, went to lunch, and sat down at like one of the more affordable places we could find on Melrose instead of trying to spend $80 for a lunch, like, all right, $20-$30, cool, and then get on with our day. And sit down, little tiny thing. And, there's a, I guess I just recognized a voice next to me. And I'm like, interesting. Okay. And I Google it. I believe the actress's name is this voice actress, Parminder Nagra, I believe was her name. And she was awesome. I just recognized her voice immediately sitting there. I forget what she's been in. I think she was in Life of Pi and a couple other things as well. But then, lo and behold, as I'm eating like a bite of sandwich, of course, we're realizing this. I think she'd done some voices in Avatar: The Last Airbender and stuff like that because my friend that was sitting across from me loves that. And we both kind of recognized at the same time the voice and kind of got awkward and silent, Like, okay, we're 3 feet away from people, excited to be sitting next to. lo and behold, I'm taking a bite of a sandwich, and Kaman and Johnny sits like catty corner to me in this little area. And, I just got immediately awkward and didn't say anything. The entire rest of the meal was like, okay, well, eat and pay and get out of here. Anyway, it'd be fun to have him in Fallout Season 2.
So one thing that one of our long-term viewers, TKR, Tim, as we know him, he pointed out that 2001: A Space Odyssey did get some nominee. It won once, one Academy Award, and got 3 other nominees. Stanley Kubrick was nominated Best Director, also Best Writing, Story, and Screenplay, where he shared that nomination with Arthur C. Clarke. Best nominee for Art Direction and Set Decoration. The movie did, not Stanley Kubrick. But it did win, not 2001: A Space Odyssey, did win Best Special Effects and Special Visual Effects.
Good.
And the name on that one was Stanley Kubrick. He did win for Best Special Effects.
Somebody asked earlier if The Matrix won any special Oscars, by the way, and I think it won 3 or 4.
Good. His special effects,
the sound and stuff, wasn't it?
There was a technical Oscar, I think The Matrix won.
Yeah, something like that. Arnold just asked about is Skeleton Crew done? It was written. You probably know this better than I do, House, to be fair. My understanding was that it was written as a one-off, but Disney are actually very happy with it. So I think it was reported in, I want to say Variety, but it might have been the Hollywood Reporter. I read both every day, so excuse me. But it was reported in one of them that Disney were really happy with it, and it's under consideration to turn it into sort of like another series. But it was created and written as a one-hit miniseries sort of thing, a one-hit limited series. So we'll wait and see.
Everything you just said, small chance it gets a second. The only thing, not the only thing, outside of it legitimately being a fantastic little series, it's not, the most Star Warsy thing ever. It's not the least Star Warsy thing ever, but it is succinctly Star Wars and sci-fi all at once, which is very fun. Everything, everywhere, all at once. Well, Matt. But the thing that would help it get a season 2 is the fact that it's the first Star Wars show in a long time that is every single episode increased in viewership. There have been some like Ahsoka where it was going down in viewership, and then the series finale came up, or season finale was there, and okay, big jump in viewership again. But it's quality wise, each episode tends to not be as great, and the Acolyte and so on and so forth. And although we all love animation for Star Wars, and that's typically where they do their best work, not everyone's going to continue watching an animated show every single time, whether we all love it and think animation is just as good as live action stuff or not. That's just not the way the general public thinks about it. And one way or another, it's going to do a dip. The best thing Skeleton Crew has going for it is it gained viewership every episode.
Yeah.
I spoke to a chap that works for one of the talent agencies, basically, and I was having a chat with him. And he sort of, I was asking him, what do you think about that? And he was just like, he doesn't think Skeleton Crew is going to get a second series, but it'd be made if Jude Law didn't get one. So he says he could see like, and I agree with him actually. He could see Jude Law getting like a, because like it doesn't really explain. I know it does a bit, but
who he is,
why he, I know he says he learned a bit of the Jedi. He's one of those Jedi, isn't he? That he learned a bit, and then they go, you're not properly a Jedi, and they kick him out. But they were saying having the kids and stuff in another series might be a bit awkward, because this was the whole thing about them basically falling onto a ship and accidentally launching it. That's going to be a bit difficult to do again. So it wouldn't. How would you do that? That they're all at home being looked after by mommy and daddy. It wouldn't really work. But doing something with Jude Law, Skeleton Crew season 2. It would be called Skeleton Crew, but the kids wouldn't be. That makes sense. That could be doable. So I could see that. I could see them doing something with Jude Law's character. I'm not a massive fan of Jude Law, I have to admit, but I
really. You enjoyed him in Skeleton Crew?
Well, he's good. He's really good.
Mm-hmm.
He was really good in the Sherlock Holmes series when he played John Watson. I really liked him. Generally speaking, though, I'm not a big fan. I don't think he's a very good actor. I think he basically plays Jude Law. and everything. I think he's quite a wooden actor. I don't particularly like him, and he's not the nicest. Over the years, he's not been the nicest person in the world.
I really liked him in Gattaca. I thought he was really, because he's always angry in Gattaca, and I think he pulled. It's often difficult to pull off anger consistently, and I think he did that in Gattaca. Going back to the Matrix Oscar wins, just for a second, Matrix won Best Film Editing. It won Best Sound, Best Effects, Sound Effects Editing, and Best Effects Visual Effects because of the cameras.
No, I did really well. But yeah,
So-
I like Jude. When Jude Law's good, he's really good. But when he's bad, he's really bad.
All right.
But he's
I
good in
put him in
Skeleton.
a
I loved him in Skeleton Crew.
okay. I kind of put him in a similar category as Michael Fassbender, where when Fassbender hits, there are few actors that can do as well as he can.
Yeah.
But a lot of the time, it's not that he's and even with Jude Law, I don't know if wooden's necessarily the best term, but it's almost they lose themselves in a stoicism, if that makes sense. And I guess which kind of ends up being wooden, which is just kind of, I guess, the word that kind of goes back to it.
Do you remember Steven Spielberg's AI when Jude Law was a robot? Talk about stoicism.
Yeah.
What do you think?
I just don't think he's a particularly. I think he's got better as time's gone on, but I think he's more got into movies because he's a good-looking fella rather than being a brilliant actor. I don't think he's the greatest actor that's ever lived.
No.
If I'm fair, but that's to say that in the right project, though, like I said, like Sherlock Holmes, he fit that, and he was just brilliant. And I think he was more playing himself. But the other problem is being British and whatever. I know a lot of the scandals and stuff that have followed him over the years, and that does taint a person, doesn't it? When you don't particularly like them as a human being. But I think even that he maybe when he was a bit younger, he was a bit of a Jack the Lad, and he treated a couple of women quite publicly, quite badly. But I think even that sort of he's aged and mellowed, and I shouldn't taint that with him, but I think it just does, don't you? When there's an actor,
Naturally, things do. You know,
you forgive actors you like more, and that you may be critical of actors you don't like on a personal level, maybe a bit more than you should. I think Captain Jack Sparrow, his name's gone out my fucking head. That's ridiculous, isn't it?
Johnny Depp.
Johnny Depp, one of the biggest actors in the country. The people, I think he was perfect for that, because there are a lot of people that really don't like him, and they just rallied behind that bloody woman during the court case. And there are people that love him and forgave him an awful lot of crap. And really, if you look at it like independently, you would go, they're both very troubled, messed up human beings that deserve our sympathy. You shouldn't really be behind what. Well, he's obviously a drug addict, alcoholic, and probably was quite abusive. And she's a psychopath.
He probably was all the same things right back. Like, it's just really not a good situation.
Shouldn't be sides on this.
Hollywood power couple.
Oh, wow.
Sorry.
Yeah, just it's interesting, but nonetheless, naturally things get tainted. But that was a good role from him. I feel like Jod Wood, Crimson Jack, whatever the hell his actual name is, was a good one. That thought process, though, I feel like we could see some of the kids again, especially if Wim ends up being Force sensitive. Maybe Neil too. I doubt it's both of them, but Wim would make sense. Maybe they even include Fern. I don't think they would, but I think the best way to do that is there's a character I'm not sure y'all are familiar with or not, but Dash Rendar in Star Wars, kind of larger canon, expanded universe, kind of the older stuff. Who joined Luke Skywalker's new academy when he was doing his Jedi Academy and was an adult. So Luke doesn't just accept children, he accepts adults as well. And it was somebody who had very little, very light kind of lightsaber experience. I believe he was even a stormtrooper, or am I thinking of another character? I'm pretty sure Dash Rendar was a stormtrooper at some point. So morally ambiguous to a degree, but still has that want of doing good. And I feel like Jod could be a good placement of that in canon, in what we know. And also that might be an opportunity for, hey, dude, you want to show that you are going to be better in the universe and show you can do good, especially with these force powers you have? We're going to bring you over to Luke's Academy. and then you bring Wim there to train as a Jedi too. That might be like a fun little option or opportunity to see them and maybe the other kids send off. Outside of that, as much as I freaking love Skeleton Crew, I'm with you. I don't know if Star Wars is in a point right now where a season 2, well deserved, is palpable.
Yeah, I think it's one of the most interesting things Star Wars have done in years. Somebody keeps telling me how nothing Disney did. I did that Firefly video and Disney looking at Firefly. There's so many comments. Disney destroy everything they touch. Mm-hmm. Don't get me wrong, they've destroyed an awful lot, but they have done some good stuff in the last couple of years. And I'm saying from a sci-fi point of view, the last Predator movie was really good. The last
Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes.
Well, yeah. The last Alien movie was really good. Skeleton Crew was actually quite good. Yeah, okay. Shoka was one of the worst things we've ever forced.
Well, Ahsoka wasn't that bad. Acolyte, though.
Acolyte, sorry. No, Ahsoka was okay. Ahsoka was just okay.
I was getting ready to say.
Yeah, sorry, Acolyte. I'm not a Star Wars fan. Leave me alone. And I'm tired. We need to end now. But Disney have done some good stuff, and they were the most successful studio last year. They earned the most in the cinemas. So they're actually still putting stuff in the cinema, which some studios aren't at all.
Inside Out 2 and Moana.
And don't get me wrong, I'm not sure that these things mean we should forgive some of the things they've horribly effed up, but because they have. But it's not everything that they've done. I mean, it's not, Christ, no studio could mess everything up, surely. Unless
you're Bad Robot.
No, because Bad Robot have done good stuff over the years. They've got steadily worse, but Fringe is brilliant.
Well, early Bad Robot,
fantastic. Bad Robot's great. And yes, okay, then they went downhill, and then they ruined Star Trek and Star Wars. But I'm sure people will forgive them for that eventually.
A broken watch is right twice a day, as they say. Oh no, you're wearing the Vernestra green. You're helping his points out today, Jamie.
All right. I'm not a big Star Wars fan. Even though I've got building a Millennium Falcon Lego model, it's going to take me about 6 months to build. The 20,000 pieces.
So with all the Star Wars talk, real quick, Ryan Gosling coming in here as possibly somebody. The joke has been Obi-Wan Kin Obi because of Kin from Barbie. Surprise, surprise. The great joke. I'm so excited about it. Ryan Gosling in a James Mangold Origin of the Jedi movie.
Yeah.
Yay or nay?
Yeah, I'm on board with it. I like it.
Stormy, yay or nay?
I think
Gosling in a James Mangold Origins of the Jedi movie.
Gosling? Well, do we get the?
I don't think we know what film he's in yet. It's the
Oh, excuse me. It's not the James Mangold film. It's the Sean Levy one that he's
it's the Sean Levy film that we don't.
Excuse me. It's Sean Levy, the guy that did Deadpool, etc., etc.
Yeah, we don't know what the film's going to be about. Yeah.
No idea.
I mean, do we get the? Are we getting the Blade Runner Gosling?
No, you would be getting Goofy Gosling. You'd be getting Fall Guy Gosling would be the closest thing.
I thought he did a good job. I thought he did a good job in Barbie. That was really funny, but I don't know if this is the thing that we need to storm myth.
I would have said 5 or 6 years. Oh no, before The Nice Guys, I'd have said this is a terrible idea. But then Nice Guys came out, and I'm like, this is genius. But it just I think this might be a film that Star Wars fans hate, hardcore Star Wars fans hate, but the wider audience might really, really enjoy.
That's gonna be me. I really appreciate Sean Levy as a filmmaker. I don't think I really like any of his films. Free Guy is maybe my least favorite film of the past 5-6 years, and I don't understand why people like it. It's a film about nothing, and it's a film about nothing. It's just if I wanted to waste my money, I could have wasted my money in doing so many other things.
It's a comedy though. It's an action comedy. It's not.
Yeah, but it's straight up the most campy. Nobody actually made I don't. Those are jokes that are like street jokes. I feel like this is one of those things you go on a comedy show and someone's like, "You didn't write those jokes." Yeah, but nobody knows who wrote them. Yeah, so we included them in our movie. It was like the most just basic, just BS possible, and I
really liked it. Don't get me wrong. I'm not
glad
going
you did.
to. I probably will never ever watch it again, but I quite liked it.
Oh, that I don't know why that one hit me the way it did, but it hurt me.
It's all tasteful, isn't it, man? There can just be something about a movie, like, or your expectation of a movie or whatever. That just, we can all, other than Section 31, which we all agree is bloody awful. You can watch a film and one person love it, or love something about it, and that just brings the whole film. And somebody else can have like one scene can just like turn you off, kind of, and like, I don't like.
Well, the two things Levy has done that I thoroughly enjoy. One was a movie right after was the Adam Project. That was a really, it's not the best thing ever by any means.
Well, it's the guy that wrote the Adam Project doing the script, isn't he? It's the guy that wrote the Adam Project and something else that Sean Levy did. That's doing the script.
Good. That would be nice. Because also Sean Levy, whenever he gets into Stranger Things, him and the Duffer Brothers work perfectly together. They're great. Because the Duffer Brothers know the horror and the scary elements of everything they want. Then Sean Levy says, "Yeah, I know the kids," and they work just very well.
Now, the nice thing is what I really, really want, and I know for a fact he's been in negotiations as well to do this, is a Rambo reboot. And apparently Sylvester Stallone has given him his blessing.
Sean Levy?
No, Ryan Gosling is going to be Rambo.
I'd almost see Reynolds in that role.
Well, Ryan Gosling has basically said, apparently this was sort of half agreed a couple of years ago, but Ryan Gosling says, I need to be a bit older. So it's one of those things that have said, we just need to hold off a couple of years. And Sylvester Stallone apparently has said, I will sign off on it, but only if Ryan Gosling appears in it. He's handpicked him. But Ryan Gosling has, there have been conversations about it. So Ryan Gosling might be Rambo in a couple of years. And to be honest, I can see it.
Wow, really?
Yeah, because if you think about the Rambo character, he's somebody that goes off to the military, comes back, and is shunned by the people. I don't know what war they're going to use, though, because it's like the Vietnam War, wasn't it? Yeah. So, and that was so unpopular. So I don't know how that's going to work. But I actually think it's one of those things that Ryan Gosling being quite a good-looking guy could really work in that, because you're not thinking about Rambo 2 or 3, where they were huge action movies. You're thinking about Rambo First Blood, which is dark, and I don't know. I can just see it. I can just see it working, because you don't think it will work, if that makes sense.
Well, that's the thing that my brain's kind of like, okay, he's a damn good actor. He can do it, and if you put a damn good director behind him, hopefully not Sean Levy for that.
5 years ago, no chance. But give him another 5 years, a little bit older, that could work. I think it could work, because it shouldn't work, if that makes sense.
See, I remember a couple of years back when Tarantino was joking, whenever he was possibly going to make Star Trek, he was like, "Hey, well, if I was going to make another movie that I wanted to reboot, I'd reboot Rambo with Adam Driver." That is what I would watch. I would watch Rambo with Adam Driver and Tarantino at the helm any day of the week.
Yeah, I could see that working.
Gosling, he's too much of a pretty boy in a way.
I think that's why it would work. Honestly, watch him in things like
Blade Runner, huh?
Well, actually thinking about it, I don't think he's ever really done anything quite like it as well.
That's the thing that I'm kind of hung up on.
But that's why I think why it could work. I think he is a good actor. I think he can do action. I've seen him do action. Mm-hmm. He does tend to do slightly comedic stuff when he does action, but which obviously Rambo is not.
Yeah, well, Blade Runner was.
I could see it working because he wouldn't. Well, first of all, if Sylvester Stallone says he's the only person I want doing it, then for me that's it. If Sylvester Stallone picked him, then he's picked, and that's it. It's almost like when Ferguson left Man United, he hand-picked, and even though we all hated the guy he picked, we all went, yeah, but we got to give him a go. So if Sylvester Stallone says this is the guy, then I'm on board. But actually, if you look at Ryan Gosling in Blade Runner, the party place and that sort of thing, I think that screams that he could do that. I think he could do it. And
that's the best example I feel like we have.
I think it's the only serious sort of film he's done with action, and to be honest, I think everything else he's done. But again, 5 or 6 years ago, I'd have gone, no chance. Ryan Gosling's stupid. He's too pretty and he's boring. He's got quite a monotone voice. He's a bit like Keanu Reeves for me. That his voice is a bit. It's not very expressive.
Yeah,
but he's that doesn't take away from his acting. But that's how I felt about him particularly when he was younger, doing when he was doing Notebook and shit like that. But I was forced to watch a Notebook, so I immediately hated the man. Because it's just your fault I'm having to sit through this film. I didn't even get sex afterwards. Just a girl made me sit and watch it.
Oh, no.
And then nothing happened. I'm like, I at least deserve a blowjob now, right? And nothing. So if I'm going to watch a film that bad, I expect nudity to follow. Nothing. So I didn't like it. But no, I'm hoping that happens. But I do agree. And I think that's another thing about Ryan Gosling. I think he's a very clever guy. And he's a very clever actor.
Yeah.
And he's gone, I would love to do that. But we've got to wait. I need to be a bit older, sort of thing. And I think that shows his intelligence as well, that he knows that if I do this 5 years ago when they first started talking about it, it wouldn't work. We need to almost wait until I'm the right age for it to work, sort of thing, or it's just not right. So I think it could work. I'd love to see it.
I've been trying to figure out the name. I finally looked at the titles of just everything he's worked in and remembered it. The one thing that might be even a better litmus test in the emotiveness that he has to bring by, and actually just thinking about this film again, he could play Rambo. He could play Rambo 100% just from this film. Is oh god, I literally just read it. Oh, there it is. The Place Beyond the Pines. It's him, Eva Mendes. That's right, and Bradley Cooper. And it's a famous picture of him. He's got like tattoos all up him. I think he's got a face tattoo on Ryan Gosling as well. And he's always on his motorbike, and he's kind of the douchebag, kind of the dick boyfriend kind of deal. It's been forever since I've seen the movie. And I remember it being really, really good. I don't remember too many details because I was so young when I watched it, but it's damn good. And I just remember him being. Drive would be another good one. Drive. He has a few films in his filmography, I guess. Earlier on that weren't as campy, you know, and I feel like those, if he leans into that version of himself, that Blade Runner, that Lost Beyond the Pines kind of place, we're good.
Well, it won't be a comedy. It won't be, The Nice Guys, will it?
Of course, yeah.
It's Rambo. I'm pretty sure he was in an interview basically, and he said his favorite film ever made was Rambo. First Man is a serious film as well. And that's
I haven't seen that, and I need to.
So
because that's Damien Chazelle that directed that, I believe, who Ryan Gosling won an Oscar with, or at least got Oscar nominated with, for La La Land. Real quick, we don't get the Twitter X comments too often, so when we see them, we got to say howdy. Good day, guys. Still haven't watched Section 31, and I'm not going to. The trailer was enough of a turn off. Scroll this baby back about an hour 15 minutes or an hour 45 minutes and just enjoy the Section 31-ness of it all. Oh god. David, I'm not going to put that one up there, but it's funny. Didn't Gosling marry Eva Mendes? If so, lucky guy. He did, and yes, and I think it was because of that movie.
How many times have I complained about that?
This episode, or
no? I just read Dave B's comment.
It is 2 hours 15 minutes, y'all.
Yeah, I think by now we should realize after 3 years of this that I occasionally wander off subject. Occasionally.
And you mean all three of us can't get in those like crazy little tangents and then get caught in the tangents and go on, and Stormy and I end up talking about science for 4 hours after a stream one day.
4 hours.
That was still such a fun stream, though. I don't know how we went on so long.
Yeah. I'm going there. So
real quick, before we all out of here,
do not ask me what I've watched this week.
what did you watch this week?
It takes 15 or 20 minutes.
We're speed running it. Go through speed run. We've already
Section 31 Leverage
74 times.
All I've watched all week is Leverage. I started watching Leverage again a week and a half ago, and then I stopped to watch Secret Hideout, and I was Section 31, and I was so annoyed by watching Section 31, I had to watch Undiscovered Country to try and even it out. So I watched Undiscovered Country last night, and it's still brilliant. Go on then, Stormy, quickly. You got 30 seconds. Go.
Okay, so the thing that I watched this week was really just Stargate Atlantis, and I started on and I finished off Stargate Universe, and then I finished off Landman on Paramount while I was suffering through Section 31. And that was about it.
I started to watch Enterprise again as well.
Oh, cool.
You inspired me.
Yes.
Yeah.
I've watched Enterprise this week. I've watched Stargate SG-1 in the background. That's the best when you're playing cards thing on ever.
Yeah.
And I think that literally might be all I've seen besides like The Agency. And I guess I watched the first episode of The Agency with Michael Fassbender on Paramount Plus as well because I got through all of my freaking Taylor Sheridan shows, and I kind of think that's been it.
When is the next season of Yellowstone starting?
Oh, it's done.
Yeah, it's going to have I don't think it's still been officially announced, is it? When they're trying to do like a spin-off show that would still be at the same ranch with a new owner, but I haven't actually seen the end of Yellowstone yet, so I don't know.
Well, that can't happen, and you got to watch it. I can't tell you what goes on.
Well, I will watch it. I'm going to start watching it tonight. I got Paramount again to watch Section 31, so I can start watching it.
There will be a Beth and Rip spinoff. And that has been there are 4 confirmed things they're working on. I guess that have been greenlit. I guess we know that there's the 1944, which would be the 1923 sequel. There would be 4 sixes, which is all the different the horse ranch that Taylor Sheridan bought. That they
Taylor Sheridan owns the ranch, so why not? Yeah, okay.
So he's doing good, and he can still make a lot of money by charging Paramount $75K a day to come out and film. So yeah, he's doing all right. Yeah, he's doing all right. He's building an empire.
I was so worried about how he was making it day to day.
With you mean like 7 of the top 15 shows possible?
Poor guy. I mean, does he have a GoFund?
How do we support that old Taylor Sheridan?
Before Yellowstone came out, though, he was a failed actor who couldn't get a part.
He had
and now he's
1 season of Sons of Anarchy.
Yeah.
That's kind of it.
Yeah.
But such a good filmmaker.
Now he's the only thing holding up the Paramount Network.
They should rename it.
Tom Cruise. He's literally elevated himself to the same level of Tom Cruise at Paramount, if not more important than Tom Cruise.
Which is literally doing it. He could come in and go, "I've got this idea. I'm going to put Michelle Yeoh in it. And it's going to be loosely based on Star Trek, and it's going to be called Section 31." And they would still make it. They would make it,
and it would probably be good somehow.
If Taylor Sheridan was involved, it probably would be good.
It would have some decency to it.
Yeah. I don't think they'd give him Star Trek. That'd be amazing, wouldn't it?
Okay, dudes, I really got to go.
I've got to leave. Let me leave.
I need to. I need to eat me something, and then I got to get to homework. Unfortunately.
Thank y'all for hanging out with us, and come celebrate tomorrow, Jamie's birthday, and it would be awesome if y'all came and helped and supported the wildfire relief out here as well. We're going to hope Jamie doesn't die and choke on the cake like the pizza earlier. Fingers crossed, y'all.
It was a pickled onion I nearly died on.
Oh.
That'll do it. Okay. That'll do it. Oh, damn. Bye, y'all. And,
bye, guys.
Cheery, bye.
See ya.
See y'all soon.
See you soon.